All right, guys, I wanted to go through a complete 100-hour review of my Bearhawk 5. I've had some people asking, for a complete walk around, and we are going to accomplish that today. So we'll start at the front of the plane. It is a Hartzell 85-inch Trailblazer that's a constant speed propeller. So another cool thing we have on the front of the plane, you don't have great visibility, so we put a camera on the front of the plane for taxiing so you can see what's going on. The engine of the plane is awesome. So it is a Lycoming IO 580, port and polished with 10-to-1 compressions. It also has E-mags on it and a dyno at over 400 horsepower. So this thing produces a ton of power. One of the coolest things about this plane is the climb rate. It absolutely pulls. If you get it in standard conditions, it's with another person, you can easily climb out 2,800 feet per minute. This plane climbs better than almost any bush plane out on the market. At the same time, you'll cruise at 153 miles an hour, and you're only burning 13 gallons an hour. It has a range of about 650 miles. It also has a stall speed of 40 miles an hour, and I've been able to take off in 68 feet and land in 85 feet in this thing. The empty weight for this plane is 1,600 pounds, and it has a gross of 3,000 pounds, which gives you a 1,400 pound useful load. There are not a lot of planes in the market that can do that and have this kind of performance. So for the gear, we have the TK gear on it. We did a 4-inch lift. It has 31-inch Alaska bush wheels, and it's kind of a love-hate relationship with it because when I put the gear on, I lost 10 miles an hour in cruise speed. So I was able to gain about 4 miles an hour back by putting these fairings on here. But I think one of the issues that we're having is with the cabane and the exit air from the cowl, it's blocking up the air and not allowing the engine to breathe as good. So we've had some cooling issues with the CHTs and a little bit with the oil temp as well. So I'm gonna have a pretty cool upgrade coming with the shocks on here that no one's really done yet. And stay tuned because it's gonna be a really cool setup. So that'll be in one of our next videos. Might be a couple months, but you'll love to see it. Another thing that we're probably gonna change up is with the cooling on here, this lip right here needs to be more of an angle. So we're gonna get a different lip on here to hopefully help the cooling in the plane. So one upgrade that we have from the stock Bearhawk 5, and this is the first plane that they've done it on, is they made a slotted flap. So the air can go over the top and stay attached to the flap. This took the stall speed down, I'm guessing 3 to 4 miles an hour. Another thing that we did with it is we went to a 50-degree deflection. So the stall speed, as I said now, is 40 miles an hour. We had to move the VGs around, so the VGs were too far back in the chord. So they're 2.5 degrees of chord right now. And also the VGs on the tail. I know some of you guys out there with Bearhawks have your VGs too close together on the tail. And so we spaced ours out. I'm not exactly sure on the number, but I want to say there's 60 millimeters now. And what was happening before was the VGs were so close that the vortices were interfering with each other and blocking out the window of the tail, which was making for a really violent stall. And now the stall is, it doesn't really break anymore when it stalls. So I used to brake last year almost pretty often coming into land when it's slow. And now it doesn't break anymore. It's very docile and just kind of floats down. So for the stick, these are Pioneer stick, pretty standard, nothing too fancy with them, but they do work very well. I haven't had any issues with it. As far as flying a stick compared to a yoke like I had on my model, I mean, the stick is just so much better. All right, so for the avionics, I went with a light IFR package. I wanted to keep it as light as possible. while also being a functional plane. So when you're traveling to competitions and stuff, or going anywhere, you have the IFR capabilities and also has autopilot. So we went with the Garmin G3X, the Garmin G5 as a backup. Then we have the GPS 175 and the GFC 500 for the autopilot. So my seats on the Bearhawk are a little different. They actually slide back and forth. So you have the slide right here, as opposed to some of the traditional Bearhawk seats. One thing is you can't get as close as I'd like to. So I'm 5'9", and I really have to get on my tiptoes to get on the brakes to hold the plane. So it would be nice if you had a little more room to slide forward. But for me, it works just fine. So it also has the Limo headsets back here. So the headsets are plugged into the back. It has some USBs if you need to charge. Also has a USB up there. So the wing on here is a 36-foot wing. It's a modified riblet airfoil. And then we also put 18.5-inch Horner wing tips on here. You also have a USB hookup right here, so if you want to run a camera or something, you can run a camera right here, kind of how I do. So when I originally got the Bearhawk, I wasn't sure how I felt about the doors, but I actually think they're pretty cool. They're kind of retro, put it in there, bring it down. It's really hard. You can't really fly with the windows up. The speed limit on that's 100 miles an hour, and in this plane you're going to get to 100 miles an hour and climb out in a second. So it has air vents that come in through the wing and does a really good job of cooling you. If you can see on the other side, on the inside over here, it has the vents right there that you can angle and point at yourself. It does a really good job of cooling you off in the summertime. So one of the issues that we've had with the plane is with the heavy motor on the front, I had to put 68 pounds of lead in the back to keep the CG back. While some people might think that's a good thing because you could pretty much put whatever you want in this plane to travel. For competition, when I was really light, it was kind of a problem. So what I did is I put a header tank back here, so you can get back there and you can see the header tank in the back. See if we can get the camera up in here. So you got the tank over here. So then it has that light and the sight glass, so if you're flying, you can see what your fuel's at. I put 2 pumps in the back there because when you're on the ground, the engine can't get the fuel up to the motor. It doesn't suck hard enough with the manual fuel pump on there. So we got 2 pumps on there, one for a backup in case it ever fails. So that setup allowed me to take 43 pounds of lead off the tail. I still have 25 pounds back there, and taking that 43 pounds off, I'm still further back in my CG than I was when I had 68 pounds back there. And doing that and putting the header tank, I also pulled the auxiliary tanks off the wingtips because I really didn't need that much fuel. Right now I still have 65 gallons, so I can still travel 600 650 miles, and I'd rather have lighter weight than have extra fuel. So one of the best things about the Bearhawk is the accessibility to the baggage area. It's absolutely huge. You can see I can completely lay down in here flat. For reference, if you ever get stuck in a situation, you could sleep in the back pretty easily. It is a six-seater plane, so there's just a couple bolts you can take off. There's a seat that goes up here and a seat that comes back here. So, you have tons of room. I've taken 4 buddies and golf clubs on a trip golfing before, had no issues with 1,400-pound useful load, and the way that the CG is, you can pretty much load the plane up however you want and go. So we went to a different tail wheel from the standard Bearhawk tail wheel, and I think it's something Bearhawk might be switching. So they are the ones that put this on. It's a Kenda tail wheel. The other one wasn't very stable. This one's a lot more stable and a lot better for taxiing. And if you ever have to pull it backwards, you'll love it a lot better than the standard Bearhawk tail wheel. So if you guys have been following around with the build, there are a lot more things that we're still working on. There's going to be some cool things coming out with the wings that you definitely want to stay tuned for, which should make a pretty significant decrease in stall speed. Also, Bearhawk just came out with their Acme shocks for the standard gear. So I think we're going to go back to the standard gear, use those shocks, and it's going to be a really cool setup. It's going to get the speed back that we lost. It should help the cooling, and there should be a really cool tire that we'll be putting on it. So it's going to be a very unique setup that I think is going to help with not only the speed performance, but the performance in landing and reducing the bounce that we've been having. So stay tuned. Lots of cool things coming out. This plane in its current form is going to keep improving. So if you're looking at building a Bearhawk 5, reach out to Virgil. There's not really a plane out there that can do what this plane can do right now. You know, cruise at 150 plus mile an hour with very low stall speed and a stall speed that is going to continue to improve. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.